I'm David Hearn, the host of Authors Reading Interviews. Today's interview is with Rox Burkey and Charles Breakfield. Is that correct, the way I pronounced it?
Breakfield.
Breakfield, okay. I want to tell you it's great getting to meet you two. I've read multiple books by you, and some of them are definitely fascinating. And I'm a IT person, and my background is IT, so they really resonated with me.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, I want to start with you, Rox. How did you guys get together to collaborate? How did this collaboration start?
Oh, it's a great question, David. So we actually worked together at a manufacturer, and we were asked to write technical documentation, which we did. And, you know, technical documentation, because you have an IT background, is like boring as can be. And so then we decided we would write nonfiction. And I got a contract with the company to do that for us. But again, you know, by the time you publish it, the technology is updated. So Charles said he didn't want to write anymore. So I brought a beginning of the very first book to him about, 2 months later.
Yeah.
And he looked at it dubiously. But I said, but we can kill people. And he was in.
You could do what now?
Kill people.
Kill people, that's right. He was in.
Yeah, so we get even with a lot of people that have ticked us off over the years, and it makes a story a little spicier. So yeah.
Yeah, could you turn the sound up just a little bit, if you could? How long have you been writing together?
So we started, I guess, first part of this century. I like saying it that way because it sounds like we've been at it for longer than 20 years. We really got into the fictional aspects of it starting in 2012. I mean, we really started to pound on the keyboard to be able to assemble what we thought were great stories.
Yeah, there are always big books too. I mean, there's a lot in each one of them that you've written. Give us all an an overview of the Enigma series. You know, the whole premise of it, if you can.
The premise of it is, you know, in 1939, when Poland was being overrun by the Germans, our three originators of the R group, which is the ultimate good guy portion of our series, ended up copying the Enigma machine. And the original went on the last plane to Britain, which of course made history later. Our three heroes took their copy to Switzerland, made it decrypt for them, and helped build their information dynasty. In the series, we take that as a backdrop to all of today's technology. So everything happens today, but it's a family business, and it has a very strong moral fiber, you know, a moral code to do.
Yeah. So each one of the stories, David, just so you know, they're different deliberately. I mean, a different threat vector, a different set of bad guys that always seem to be ahead of the good guys. And it's the R group that comes in and figures out, okay, this is how we defeat them. And yeah, to your point, they're big books, but it takes about 100,000 words to be able to write a good techno thriller.
Right. And you've had some very evil women, by the way.
Oh, yes.
We got some good patterns from that from our work in the IT world.
So what is this process you use to write when you collaborate? I mean, who does what?
So we keep track of everything on a spreadsheet. So, you know, we kind of rough out the story, rough out how we want to approach it. And then essentially we email chapters back and forth to one another as we complete our segment. I try to kind of be the last one to make it sound like the same voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then Charles' wife, Sandy, actually does the final editing on the stories.
Basically, it's a technique. We've got a patent. It's patent pending. It's called literary ping pong. We bat it back and forth until it gets polished, and we get rid of individual voices so it sounds like it's one story.
Yeah, but which it does, by the way. And by the way, we just finished the Enigma Beyond, reviewing that. You don't have it yet, but you will. And yes, that's it. And which was all about artificial intelligence, and narrated, by the way, by Derek Scholes, which I think has done all your books, if I'm not mistaken. He's
All but the
narrated
first one. All but the first.
Okay, he's done a fabulous job too. And I'm really interested in this AI stuff, and so you guys, when you wrote this book, it struck a chord with me because of the things that you talked about in it. Specifically, the fact that artificial intelligence is getting to the point where, that it's emulating neural networks, and it's getting more and more powerful. And so you brought it to the extreme, which it actually is heading in that way. So let's talk about that. What all do you feel is going to be happening in the future with this artificial intelligence? Well, first, just give me an overview of that book, if you would, please, and then we'll go into that.
Okay. All right. So what we have is the MAG group, an organization designed to be able to capture business, and no longer satisfied with having all the business on the planet, they now want to be able to govern. And so the threat vectors come through. They take their supercomputers and basically level them as weapons, and it becomes a very interesting cat and mouse game of, okay, they're hitting here, they've taken over the space station that's now belongs to them. They're looking to be able to bully other countries into a submission, and it's all the metrics of supercomputing, artificial intelligence, deep machine learning, all harnessed in the worst possible way that you can imagine.
And interestingly enough, they take hold of social media and propagate, different kinds of information across social media channels, and you don't know whether it is a person's opinion, a machine's opinion, or a machine's opinion manipulated by a person. And it's scary because it's so plausible.
No, it's not only possible, it's happening. I mean, that's the thing. The things you've written about are happening right now. I mean, what you just talked about is relevant. I think today we have social media propagates this view that people start accepting, even if they don't believe it, they accept it, I think, just because they're afraid to oppose it. So if it's out there propagated to the extent that it appears to be the voice of the masses, then very few will have the guts to actually say, hey, that doesn't sound right.
Exactly. And it happens across all the social medias, and even more so in recent months, I think, than in prior years. It just seems to be totally
recent days.
Yeah, there's that too. But it's totally without guardrails now.
Yes.
And that's what's scary.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's very scary. I think people who go against the current, even if the current is full of pollution, are attacked. So it's very it's a very divisive thing. And going back into the artificial intelligence and what it's doing to, or what it will be doing to society. I mean, I think that you touched on in your book what it's very obviously heading towards a point where we're going to have to say, will it have emotions? I mean, you have these supercomputers actually having a romance to a certain degree.
Machine learning.
Feeling for each other.
It started, Beyond actually started from it was a Microsoft study, and Microsoft wanted to test machine learning, and so they pointed their machines at social media for about 24 hours, maybe 36 hours, and found that after that amount of time, the machine was so corrupted and biased that they had to shut the program down and start over from square one.
Basically wipe the drives because it had picked up everything that a normal person, like, okay, that's nonsense. I'm going to skip by that. You know, that's hate stuff. It was digesting so much filth that they couldn't stop it, and it became this horrible entity that, oh, OMG, what do I do? You know, this is the wrong model, guys. Pull it off, pull it off, pull it off. And so, you know, we had that same kind of attack vector in and beyond, where it's like, it's been compromised. Pull it off. Just disconnect it. We can't, sir. And that's where the who wins the AI wars becomes a very interesting equation.
And the things you've talked about, which are very technical, a lot of them, I wonder how things like that are really going to affect our world, not just as a technological type of event, but as far as like robots right now are actually cleaning Walmart floors and other things of this nature. And so we're going to get an artificial intelligence, like I used to be a programmer, and I think one of you are programmers, right? Or have been, or both of you?
Have been.
Yeah.
Have been.
Yeah. So a lot of the basic programming routines that we had to do before doing the logic, I think AI will do it all for us. So it will know how to write the code for us. We won't be doing it. So a whole bunch of programming jobs will be gone, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But a lot of other jobs out there that robots will start doing will be gone. So we'll have a society that has been brought up, many of them not being educated very well, I think. And then we're introducing this super strong intelligence into computers that can do all kinds of things with robots, with everything else. It's going to affect, I think, society immensely.
Well,
And that's a great point, David. We can't disagree. It's marginalizing humans, and we're allowing that to happen.
Case in point, I actually saw there's actually a couple of companies out there now. They've written software driven by artificial intelligence to be able to grade resumes resumes. Yeah. A resume. So typically, when what happens in the HR department, they put a position out to get people interested in it. They'll get 1,200 resumes. There's this company that will take those resumes and basically scan through them at machine speeds, looking for the best candidate, and then just basically give the answer to the HR person that says, make an offer to the individual. All of your HR stuff starting to have that same kind of flavor that's like, I'm being graded by the machine. Really? I'm not going to get to talk to somebody unless I make it through the the artificial intelligence algorithm that you guys have got programmed. Terrifying.
It is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one example that I know of for sure. So there's other ones, but I don't want to go down a rat hole and lose the audience for I love the mind-numbing details, and it's Roxanne has to remind me every once in a while. Shut up.
and okay, so your series has gone on for, I guess you're saying 6 years now, right?
Actually, 8.
8 years. Okay, 8 years. Yeah, 2012. Okay. See, I need artificial intelligence to calculate the difference between 20 and 12. And I noticed when I'm reading them that they're pretty up to date with what's like the last one I just read. I'm not sure which one of that is within the series, but again, it touches on a subject that's relevant today. I mean, this artificial intelligence, which it's a big deal now. Quantum computing, all this, it's just going to take over. So, are you continually writing, or is this series going to? Do you see any end to it, or is it going to be like the Hardy Boy books? That goes on forever.
Oh no, it's better than the Hardy Boy books. I promise you.
Wow, I hadn't thought of them in a long time. Thank you.
But they go on forever. They're still going on, and
yeah,
and they're relative today for the new ones that they're writing.
Right.
and of course they're still written under the same name, Dixon, I think it was, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So even though he
We
never
are
existed,
working on book 12 right now. We're planning to release that in January, and it actually is called the Enigma Combat. So it takes what you finished in the Enigma Beyond, which is book 11. It actually picks it up because of, what is the real combat that's going to happen, and is there a way that they can be controlled?
right?
Can we control machines? I think technology has brought great value to the overall humanity. I really do.
I do too.
But I think that there are things that we're permitting because we're being, in a word, lazy.
Yes.
I'd say seduced. Seduced is probably it's a much more graphic word. We're being seduced by the technology. Here, I'll take care of that for you. You over and have your favorite adult beverage. Okay.
And of course, for corporate America, the technology is very important because I think, because again, if we have robots cleaning floors, they don't get sick. They don't need workman comp. You make a large investment in them, but they're good for many years, and they do the job, and they don't complain. There's no uprisings, so nothing. We hope there's no uprisings, right?
Right.
So with artificial intelligence, or these robots. But I like your books. I think they're really great. And again, since I'm a guy who's really been in IT a lot myself, of course, it really appealed to me.
Thank you.
So, and I noticed you have killed off a couple of your people.
Yep.
Yes. Do you anticipate knocking off a few more?
Well, yeah.
We've got, and again, the series starts in 1939 as a backdrop, and part of the story is about what's the next generation, who's the next generation to be able to defend humanity against the onslaught of unscrupulous programming supercomputers that are driven by machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Right.
To be the next generation. And so, yes, life goes on, but how do you prepare the next generation for the next challenge? That's an interesting plot discussion that we want to be able to exercise.
What do you call this type of literature? Speculative,
Well, basically,
speculative fiction, or do you call it science fiction, or what do you feel like you fall under?
So it's not science fiction because this is real technology.
Yes.
That's applied in a fictional story. So it can be science fact, except that's really not. So we've classified it under techno thrillers because it is a thriller. It is technology driven. So that's where we've put them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Story that seems to be getting some attention from a lot of different other authors that are like, okay, how can I make my stuff more relevant? And we're seeing, some people drift in from different genres and hanging out their shingles saying, I want to be a techno writer, thriller writer too. So we must be onto something.
Yes. Yeah. And like I said, I thought of it as speculative fiction just because you advance technology forward just a little bit, and it happens most of the time. What you're talking about, it happens very soon thereafter.
And it occurs to me, David, you probably would really enjoy book number 7, Enigma Gamers, and that's where we have, to your point, the attack vector is against the machines that have been put into sort product for the big distribution centers for companies that you're quite familiar with, trashing the computerized systems for an aircraft carrier, and taking hold of a whole city like Barcelona because you've run your computers against theirs and you have now captured them. So, you know, and this is all about ransomware and blackmail and
Internet of Things.
the Internet of Things, and the poisoning of the stuff that you depend upon, that you use to displace all of your analog workforce. Yeah, they don't get sick, they don't complain, but if their programs are poisoned, how do you recover from that? And that's what that book is about. I think you'd enjoy that one. That's a very interesting exercise.
And one of the things, David, you said early on, it was that how relevant the latest book is, The Enigma Beyond, because of the artificial intelligence. And it's funny because the very first book in the series, The Enigma Factor, which was released in December as a second edition because we revamped it, it's about identity theft. And I think identity theft is just as relevant today as it was when we wrote that book.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a great way to introduce to the reading public some of the intricacies of this technology and what it really can be, and how good it can be, and how bad it could turn out to be, depending on who is actually in control of it. So anyways, we're running out of time here. I'm really happy to be able to talk to you too, and I want to give you a couple minutes to just say whatever you need to say, and then we'll close her up and complete our interview. So, floor is yours.
All right. We'd invite you and anybody else that gets a chance to be able to enjoy this video, come to our website. Take a look at the sample chapters, the handcrafted videos that we've built for each one of the books that kind of gives the flavor of what they're going to get. We're quite proud of some of the awards that are out there as well. So it's if there's somebody needs more about who we are and what we do, enigmabookseries.com. Invite you to show up and join our mailing list on. Oh, there's some great free stuff on there. There's actually a security quiz and a coloring book.
And a what now?
A coloring book for download.
Oh, coloring book.
Yeah.
Hey, adult coloring is all the thing, you know.
It is. My wife's really into it.
The books are available, obviously, in ebook, Audible formats, or paperback. And anyone listening to this interview that wants to mention David and email us at authors@enigmaseries.com, I will be happy to provide an audio book code in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And that sounds great. And it's the audiobooks are great. I love it.
And you mentioned Derek Scholes. He is the voice of the series, and he actually won a first place for the Enigma Stolen last year for his outstanding voice acting. He's amazing.
Yeah, and actually, I was going to let you say the last couple of things, but I did want to just mention that you have so many different characters in there. I mean, you know, you got to be Ichabod. So you got to be Ichabod. You got to be people down in South America. You have to be in China. So there's a lot of different characters that are in here, and a lot of different ways you're going to have to try to manipulate your voice to emulate what they might sound like. So,
yeah.
And he does a great job. Yeah, I enjoy his narrative really well. So anyways, I want to again thank you too for being here with us today. Hope we get a chance to talk to you another time. So thank you, Rox.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, Charles, too. So
Okay.
We'll see you again soon, I hope.
All right. You have a great day. Appreciate you.
Thanks, David.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.